Here on this solitary sphere of blue and green, life has always been a contest, a struggle for resources, for territory, for survival itself. For millennia, nature has perfected the art of dominance and defense, but one species, in its remarkable and often terrifying ingenuity, has elevated this ancient struggle to a scale previously unimaginable. This species, humanity, has forged instruments of power capable not merely of shaping landscapes, but of shattering the very foundations of civilization. The intricate dance of predator and prey, once played out with claw and fang, is now conducted with hypersonic missiles and invisible waves of digital code. Power, in this human ecosystem, is a complex and shifting force. It is not simply measured in the wealth of a nation, the gold in its vaults, or the height of its skyscrapers. True power is the ability to project influence, to bend the will of others, to shape the future according to one's own design. It is a potent cocktail of advanced weaponry, strategic brilliance, unwavering resolve, and perhaps its most crucial ingredient, the capacity to inspire fear. In this global theater, every nation seeks its own security, its own place in the sun, but a select few, the apex predators of this geopolitical landscape, seek to dominate the entire planet. The arsenal of this modern age is a testament to human intellect and its capacity for destruction. It extends far beyond the traditional battlefield. Nuclear warheads, sleeping giants in their subterranean silos, hold the power of suns, a constant silent threat that underpins all international relations. Armies of cyber warriors, unseen and unheard, wage relentless campaigns in the digital realm, capable of crippling infrastructure and sowing chaos from thousands of miles away. Autonomous drones, the new birds of prey, patrol the skies with tireless, unblinking eyes, their judgment rendered by algorithm and code. And at the heart of it all, the elite soldier, a human being honed to the very peak of physical and mental endurance. This is our exploration into that realm of ultimate power. A journey to understand the forces that govern our world, the titans who command them, and the delicate, often perilous balance they maintain. We will count down the 10 most formidable military forces on Earth as we enter the year 2025. It is a hierarchy forged in fire, technology, and blood. A ranking of nations whose strength dictates the fate of millions. As we begin this descent into the heart of global power, one must wonder, where does your own nation stand in this grand, dangerous game? The answer, particularly for the coveted #1 position, may be more surprising than you could ever anticipate. Our countdown begins in the southern hemisphere, in a land of staggering scale and immense natural wealth. Brazil, a nation that stretches from the Atlantic coast to the deepest heart of the Amazon rainforest. Its sheer size is a form of passive defense, a vast and challenging terrain that would swallow any invading force whole. This geographical immensity, a continent-sized fortress, has long defined its strategic posture. For centuries, its military focus was primarily internal, a force designed to police its own sprawling borders and protect its invaluable, life-giving ecosystems from exploitation. The jungle, a seemingly impenetrable green wall, has been both its greatest treasure and its most formidable guardian. This is a nation of immense human and natural resources, a sleeping giant whose potential is now stirring. With over 200 million people, it possesses a vast reservoir of manpower, a demographic advantage that cannot be overlooked. Its economy, one of the largest in the world, provides the essential fuel for military modernization, allowing for investment in new technologies and the maintenance of a large, standing force. The Brazilian armed forces, comprising the Army, Navy, and Air Force, are the largest in Latin America, a clear statement of regional dominance and a symbol of the nation's rising ambition on the world stage. Their presence is felt from the bustling favelas of Rio to the most remote river outposts. Historically, Brazil's military doctrine has been one of self-reliance and defense of its sovereignty. It has long sought to develop its own domestic arms industry, producing everything from Embraer aircraft, renowned across the globe, to armored vehicles specifically designed for its unique and demanding environment. This drive for indigenous production is not merely a matter of national pride, it is a critical strategic imperative, reducing dependence on foreign suppliers and ensuring that its arsenal is perfectly tailored to its needs. The challenges of patrolling thousands of miles of coastline and an even longer land border have forged a military that is adaptable, resilient, and deeply familiar with its own vast domain. But the nature of this domain is changing. The dense foliage of the Amazon, once a shield, can no longer hide the nation from the threats of the 21st century. The strategic importance of Brazil's location, commanding vital Atlantic sea lanes and sharing borders with 10 other nations, places it at a critical geopolitical crossroads. The traditional concepts of territorial defense are being re-evaluated as the nation looks outward, recognizing that in an interconnected world, influence and security must be projected far beyond one's own shores. The giant is not just waking, it is beginning to stretch, its gaze fixed on a new, more complex global landscape. The modern battlefield is no longer confined to land, sea, or air. A new invisible theater of war has emerged, the digital realm. And it is here, in the silent world of cyberspace, that Brazil is making one of its most significant strategic advances. Recognizing that the next major conflict may be decided by keystrokes rather than cannon fire, the nation has invested heavily in developing formidable cyber warfare capabilities. The Brazilian Army's Cyber Defense Command is a testament to this new reality, a high-tech nerve center dedicated to defending the nation's critical infrastructure and, when necessary, launching its own offensive digital operations. This is a proactive, not a reactive strategy. The threats in this domain are constant and ever-evolving, from state-sponsored hacking groups seeking to steal industrial secrets to cyber-terrorists aiming to cripple power grids and financial systems. Brazil's cyber warriors are trained to be the sentinels of this new frontier. They are engaged in a perpetual low-level conflict, constantly probing for vulnerabilities, repelling digital incursions, and honing their skills in simulated electronic combat. This rising expertise is becoming one of Brazil's most potent and least visible military assets, a powerful tool of modern statecraft that can project influence without firing a single shot. This pivot towards cyber dominance reflects a broader shift in Brazil's military philosophy. While its conventional forces remain a powerful deterrent, the leadership understands that future power will be defined by technological superiority. The integration of artificial intelligence, satellite communications, and advanced surveillance systems is transforming the Brazilian military into a more agile, informed, and lethal force. This is not merely about acquiring new hardware, it is about cultivating a new mindset, one that embraces innovation and recognizes that information is the most valuable weapon of all. The jungle may still be its fortress, but the cloud is its new high ground. As Brazil cements its position as a regional heavyweight, its growing military prowess, particularly in the cyber domain, sends a clear message to the world. It is no longer content to be a passive observer in global affairs. It is an active participant, a rising power with the means and the ambition to shape its own destiny and influence the geopolitical balance. The Southern Giant is not just awake, it is connected, it is learning, and it is ready to compete. Its place on this list is a recognition of this profound and ongoing transformation, a sign of a new power emerging in the global South. We travel now to a region of ancient civilizations and modern tensions, a land defined by stark mountains and arid plains, Pakistan. Here, the military is not merely an institution, it is woven into the very fabric of the nation's identity. Its forces are among the most battle-hardened on the planet, tempered by decades of conflict in one of the world's most volatile neighborhoods. This is not a military that exists for parades and ceremony. It is an entity forged in the crucible of real-world combat. From counterinsurgency operations in the rugged tribal regions to high-stakes standoffs along its heavily fortified eastern border. This constant state of operational readiness has bred a unique kind of soldier. The Pakistani fighting man is renowned for his resilience, his discipline, and his fierce loyalty. He is accustomed to operating in some of the most unforgiving terrain on Earth, from the dizzying altitudes of the Siachen Glacier, the world's highest battlefield, to the scorching deserts of Balochistan. This lived experience, passed down through generations of soldiers, creates a depth of institutional knowledge and combat effectiveness that cannot be replicated in training exercises alone. It is a strength born from necessity, a hardened edge sharpened by persistent threat. The heart of Pakistan's strategic posture is its long and deeply sensitive border with its arch-rival India. This single geopolitical fact has shaped its military doctrine, its procurement, and its national psyche for over 70 years. The rivalry has resulted in a perpetual arms race, compelling Pakistan to maintain a large, well-equipped conventional force capable of deterring a numerically superior adversary. Its army, navy, and air force are in a constant state of vigilance, their every move and counter-move dictated by the delicate and often dangerous dance of power along the line of control. This singular focus has created a military of immense capability, albeit one born from a position of perceived existential threat. This complex security environment has also fostered a powerful and influential intelligence agency, the Inter-Services Intelligence or ISI. It operates as the nation's eyes and ears, a shadowy but essential component of its defense architecture. The ISI's reach extends far beyond Pakistan's borders, engaging in a clandestine struggle for influence and information across the region. In this part of the world, espionage and covert action are not exceptions. They are the norm. The interplay between the conventional military and its intelligence arms gives Pakistan a multi-layered defense capability, making it a formidable and unpredictable player in the great game of South Asian geopolitics. Beyond the soldiers and the tanks, beyond the fighter jets and the warships, lies Pakistan's ultimate guarantee of survival, its nuclear arsenal. The development of these weapons was a monumental national effort, driven by the stark conviction that only the power of the atom could provide an absolute deterrent against a larger foe. This nuclear capability fundamentally alters the strategic calculus of the entire region. It is the great equalizer, a weapon of last resort that ensures any large-scale conflict would come at an unthinkable, mutually assured cost. The stewardship of this arsenal is the military's most solemn and critical responsibility. This is not a theoretical deterrent, it is an active and evolving one. Pakistan has invested heavily in developing a diverse range of delivery systems, creating a credible triad of launch platforms on land, in the air, and at sea. From short-range tactical nuclear weapons designed for battlefield use to medium-range ballistic missiles capable of striking deep into enemy territory, the arsenal is designed for flexibility and survivability. This doctrine of full-spectrum deterrence aims to counter any level of aggression with a proportional and potentially nuclear response. The message is clear and unambiguous. An attack on Pakistan's sovereignty could have apocalyptic consequences. The command and control of these weapons is a matter of intense global scrutiny. The Pakistani military has established a highly sophisticated and secure command structure to safeguard its nuclear assets, ensuring they can never fall into the wrong hands while remaining ready for deployment at a moment's notice. This delicate balance between security and readiness is a monumental challenge, one that the nation's leadership must manage every single day. The existence of this arsenal makes Pakistan a pivotal nation in global security discussions. It is a nuclear-armed state at the crossroads of Central Asia, South Asia, and the Middle East, a reality that commands the world's attention. Ultimately, Pakistan's military power is a story of asymmetry. It is the story of a nation that has leveraged strategic thinking, unwavering resolve, and the ultimate weapon to compensate for disadvantages in size and resources. Its battle-hardened forces provide a formidable conventional shield, while its nuclear arsenal serves as the unbreachable sword of Damocles hanging over any potential aggressor. It is this potent and perilous combination, the experienced soldier on the ground and the atom bomb in the silo, that earns Pakistan its place among the world's most powerful military forces. It is a sentinel, ever watchful, guarding the Indus under a nuclear shadow. Here, in the land of the rising sun, a remarkable transformation has taken place. From the ashes of a devastating global conflict, a new kind of power has emerged, one not forged in the fires of conquest, but meticulously crafted in the crucible of technological innovation and strategic patience. The Japan Self-Defense Forces, or JSDF, stand as a testament to this nation's extraordinary resilience. Bound by a constitution that renounces war, their very existence is a paradox, a sword that must never be drawn, yet must be kept impossibly sharp. It is a force designed not for aggression, but for the ultimate defense of these ancient islands, a shield of unparalleled sophistication against the turbulent currents of the 21st century. This is a military that operates on the very frontiers of what is technologically possible. The discipline and precision that define Japanese culture are mirrored in the gleaming hulls of their naval destroyers and the silent flight of their advanced fighter jets. Every system, every piece of equipment is a marvel of engineering, honed to perfection. The soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the JSDF are not just warriors. They are highly trained technicians, masters of complex systems whose battlefield is as much digital as it is physical. Their training is relentless, their focus absolute, a silent, powerful force standing guard over a nation that has sworn off the very act of war, a paradox of immense power and profound restraint. the heart of Japan's defensive might beats strongest upon the waves. The Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force is, without question, one of the most advanced and formidable navies on the planet. Its fleet of destroyers, particularly the Kongo and Atago classes equipped with the Aegis combat system, form a near impenetrable maritime shield. These vessels are floating fortresses of immense technological prowess, capable of tracking and intercepting multiple threats simultaneously, from sea-skimming missiles to ballistic projectiles descending from the upper atmosphere. They are the vigilant sentinels of the Pacific, a silent, watchful presence in some of the world's most contested waters, their mere existence a powerful deterrent. This naval supremacy is not merely a collection of powerful ships, it is an integrated, multi-layered defensive ecosystem. Submarines like the quiet and deadly Soryu class glide unseen beneath the waves, their advanced air-independent propulsion systems allowing them to remain submerged for weeks on end, gathering intelligence and denying access to vital sea lanes. Above, P-1 maritime patrol aircraft, packed with sophisticated sensors, scan the horizon, extending the fleet's eyes and ears for hundreds of miles. It is this seamless integration of air, surface, and subsurface assets that makes Japan's maritime defense so incredibly potent, a symphony of technological harmony dedicated to a single purpose: the absolute protection of the homeland. The strength of the Japan Self-Defense Forces is magnified by its most crucial strategic asset: the alliance with the United States. This is more than a simple treaty. It is a deep, interwoven partnership forged over decades of shared interests and mutual respect. The presence of United States forces in Japan, and the constant joint exercises between the two militaries, create a level of interoperability that is the envy of nations worldwide. The JSDF does not stand alone. It stands shoulder to shoulder with the most powerful military on Earth. A combined force that dramatically alters the strategic calculus of the entire Indo-Pacific region, presenting a united front of overwhelming technological and logistical power. This alliance provides Japan with a security umbrella of immense proportions, most notably the United States nuclear deterrent, allowing Japan to focus its resources on developing conventional forces of exquisite quality, rather than pursuing its own weapons of mass destruction. The F-35 Lightning II, a fifth-generation stealth fighter, is a prime example of this collaboration. Operated by both the United States and the Japan Air Self-Defense Force, these aircraft can share data in real time, creating a unified, invisible network of air power that can dominate the skies. This synergy turns two powerful militaries into a single, cohesive fighting force, a powerful testament to the enduring strength of their post-war partnership. Yet Japan is not content to rest solely on the strength of its allies. A profound shift is underway, a reinterpretation of its pacifist constitution to allow for a more proactive and robust defensive posture. This collective self-defense doctrine is a direct response to the changing security landscape, a recognition that in an interconnected world, threats are rarely confined by borders. Japan is investing heavily in capabilities that extend its reach, including cyber warfare units to defend its critical infrastructure, and long-range strike capabilities that, while still defensive in nature, signal a new era of strategic thinking for this island nation, a quiet but firm declaration of its intent to be a more active guardian of regional stability. The future of the JSDF is one of continued evolution, a delicate balancing act between its constitutional limitations and the stark realities of its geopolitical neighborhood. It is becoming a more expeditionary force, capable of contributing to international peacekeeping and humanitarian missions, projecting its soft power and technical expertise across the globe. The conversion of its Izumo-class helicopter destroyers into de facto light aircraft carriers capable of operating F-35 Bravo jets is perhaps the most visible symbol of this change. The Phoenix is not only rising, it is spreading its wings, ready to assume a greater role in shaping the destiny of the Pacific century. A modern samurai armed not with a katana, but with the cutting edge of 21st century technology. In the heart of Europe, there exists a nation that has always charted its own course, a fierce and proud republic that bows to no one. The French armed forces are the embodiment of this spirit of independence. Unlike many of its European neighbors, who are deeply integrated into a collective security framework, France maintains a resolute and powerful strategic autonomy. This is a military designed not just to defend France's borders, but to project French power and influence across the globe, from the arid Sahel of Africa to the distant atolls of the Pacific. It is a force with a truly global reach, underpinned by a national will to act alone if necessary, a sovereign sword in a world of shifting alliances. This fierce independence is built upon a foundation of comprehensive military capability. France is one of the very few nations on Earth that designs and builds almost its entire arsenal of military hardware. From the Rafale multi-role fighter jet, a masterpiece of aeronautical engineering, to the Leclerc main battle tank and the formidable Barracuda-class nuclear attack submarines, French industry provides its armed forces with a unique advantage. This self-sufficiency ensures that France's military is never beholden to the political whims of foreign suppliers. It is a declaration of technological sovereignty, a guarantee that the tools of its defense and power projection will always be in French hands, ready to serve French interests wherever they may lie. Central to this doctrine of strategic independence is France's nuclear deterrent, the force de frappe. This is the ultimate guarantor of French sovereignty, an absolute and unquestionable statement that an existential threat to the nation will be met with devastating retribution. Unlike other nuclear powers, the French deterrent is primarily sea-based, carried aboard a fleet of 4 Triomphant-class ballistic missile submarines. These silent hunters represent the pinnacle of French naval technology, maintaining a continuous at-sea patrol, hidden deep within the ocean's abyss. Their presence ensures that at every moment of every day, a devastating second strike capability is ready, making the cost of attacking France unthinkably high. This nuclear shield allows the conventional forces of France to operate with a unique confidence and freedom of action. It liberates them from the sole duty of homeland defense and empowers them to undertake complex expeditionary operations far from Europe. The French military is not simply waiting for a war to come to them, they are actively shaping the security environment in regions vital to their national interests. This proactive posture, backed by the ultimate weapon, is what defines France's place in the world. A major power, self-reliant and unafraid, a nation that has mastered the intricate dance of diplomacy, but always keeps its sovereign sword sharpened and ready. There is perhaps no military unit more iconic, more shrouded in legend and mystique than the French Foreign Legion. For nearly 2 centuries, this elite corps has been the sharp end of French military power, a fighting force composed of volunteers from across the globe, all swearing allegiance not to a country, but to the Legion itself. Legio Patria Nostra, the Legion is our fatherland. This motto encapsulates the unique spirit of these warriors. They are a brotherhood forged in the harshest training and the most demanding operational environments on the planet, a testament to the idea that a soldier's worth is found not in their place of birth, but in their courage, discipline, and loyalty. The Legion provides France with a highly versatile and rapidly deployable expeditionary force, always ready to be sent to the world's most dangerous flashpoints. Their experience is vast and hard-won, from the jungles of French Guiana to the deserts of Mali and the mountains of Afghanistan. They are specialists in asymmetric warfare, counterterrorism, and high-intensity conflict, a force that combines the grit of old-world infantry with the technology of a modern army. For France, the Legion is more than just a famous unit. It is a vital strategic tool, a force that can intervene decisively in crises where the deployment of regular conscript forces might be politically sensitive, a true global fire brigade. Beyond the Legion, the French military's global reach is sustained by a network of overseas bases and a navy capable of sustained blue water operations. The centerpiece of this naval power projection is the aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle, the only nuclear-powered carrier outside of the United States Navy. This single vessel gives France the ability to project air power anywhere in the world, independent of land-based airfields. It is a floating sovereign territory, a mobile bastion of French influence that can launch airstrikes, conduct surveillance, and support ground troops thousands of miles from home, a powerful symbol of France's enduring status as a global maritime power. Ultimately, the French military of 2025 is a reflection of the nation itself, proud, capable, and fiercely independent. It is a force that balances high-tech sophistication, exemplified by its nuclear deterrent and Rafale jets, with the rugged, battle-hardened ethos of its Foreign Legion. It is a military that understands the importance of alliances but refuses to be dependent on them. In an increasingly uncertain world, France holds fast to its belief in strategic autonomy, maintaining a full-spectrum military that is both a shield for Europe and a spear for projecting its will across the globe, a modern republic armed with the tools and the spirit to forge its own destiny. From this small island nation, a military tradition was born that once projected power to the farthest corners of the globe. While the days of empire have passed, the spirit of that global reach endures within the British Armed Forces. This is a military that, by necessity and design, thinks beyond its own shores and even its own continent. It is a force defined by its expeditionary character, its technological sophistication, and its deep integration with key allies. The United Kingdom's power lies not in sheer numbers, but in its strategic positioning, its world-class training, and its possession of highly advanced niche capabilities that make it an indispensable partner and a formidable independent actor on the world stage. The Royal Navy remains the heart and soul of this global posture. For centuries, control of the seas has been the cornerstone of British security and influence, and today is no different. The fleet is built around two colossal flagships, the Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers. These are the largest warships ever built for the Royal Navy, floating sovereign air bases that can deploy anywhere in the world, projecting a formidable concentration of fifth-generation air power. They are the centerpieces of powerful carrier strike groups, mobile fortresses that signal British commitment and military credibility from the North Atlantic to the Indo-Pacific, demonstrating that Britannia still rules the waves. This surface fleet is complemented by a silent, unseen force of immense power. The Royal Navy's submarine service operates some of the most advanced underwater vessels ever constructed. The Astute-class nuclear-powered attack submarines are true apex predators of the deep, capable of hunting enemy ships and submarines, gathering intelligence covertly, and launching Tomahawk cruise missiles with pinpoint accuracy against targets hundreds of miles inland. They are the unseen guardians of the carrier groups and the nation's maritime trade, a potent and versatile tool of sea denial and power projection, ensuring that no adversary can operate on or under the waves without being held at risk. At the apex of this naval power pyramid lies the United Kingdom's ultimate security guarantee, the continuous at-sea nuclear deterrent. For over half a century, a British ballistic missile submarine has been on patrol, hidden in the vastness of the ocean, providing the nation with an invulnerable second strike capability. This solemn duty, carried out by the Vanguard-class submarines armed with Trident II D5 missiles, ensures that the price of aggression against the United Kingdom or its vital interests would be catastrophic. It is this nuclear backstop that underpins all of Britain's defense policy, allowing it to act with confidence on the global stage, a silent sentinel on perpetual watch. While the Navy secures the seas, it is the Royal Air Force that commands the skies, providing the United Kingdom with a decisive technological edge. The RAF is a compact yet incredibly potent air arm, built around the cutting-edge capabilities of the Eurofighter Typhoon and the F-35 Bravo Lightning II stealth fighter. These platforms represent the pinnacle of modern air power, capable of dominating hostile airspace, conducting precision strikes against ground targets, and gathering vital intelligence. The RAF's expertise in air-to-air refueling and strategic airlift gives these aircraft a truly global reach, enabling the UK to project air power rapidly across continents, a swift and powerful response to any emerging crisis. This technological prowess is matched by the quality of its personnel. The soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the British Armed Forces are renowned for the rigor of their training and their professionalism under fire. Elite units like the Parachute Regiment, the Royal Marines, and the Special Air Service, or SAS, are held as the gold standard for special operations forces worldwide. These are not large formations, but they are the tip of the spear, capable of undertaking the most complex and dangerous missions, from counter-terrorism and hostage rescue to unconventional warfare deep behind enemy lines. Their reputation alone is a powerful deterrent, a symbol of British resolve and martial excellence. The British Army, while smaller than many of its global counterparts, is being reconfigured to be more lethal, agile, and expeditionary. It is investing heavily in networked warfare, armored vehicles like the Challenger 3 and Ajax, and long-range precision fires. The focus is on creating highly mobile and self-sufficient brigade combat teams that can deploy quickly and integrate seamlessly with NATO allies, particularly the United States. This emphasis on interoperability is a key force multiplier, ensuring that the British Army can plug into a larger coalition force and contribute disproportionately to its fighting power, a testament to the adage that quality can often triumph over quantity. In 2025, the United Kingdom's military is a study in smart power. It leverages its historical experience, its key geographic location, and its deep alliances to maintain a global influence far exceeding its size. It is a force that has embraced the future, investing in cyber warfare, space capabilities, and artificial intelligence, while retaining the battle-hardened skills of its elite infantry. From the silent depths of the Atlantic patrolled by its nuclear submarines to the skies over distant lands controlled by its stealth jets, the British Armed Forces stand ready, a compact, high-tech, and globally minded force, the enduring sentinel of a proud and resilient nation. Here, on the vast Indian subcontinent, a crucible of ancient civilizations and burgeoning modernity, a colossal military force stirs. This is a land of immense scale, its population a vibrant tapestry of over 1 billion souls, and from this deep well of humanity, it draws a truly staggering strength. The Indian Armed Forces, with over 1.4 million active personnel, represent one of the largest and most formidable fighting forces on the planet. Each individual, a thread in a grand strategic design, stands ready to defend a nation whose borders stretch from the soaring icy peaks of the Himalayas to the warm tropical waters of the Indian Ocean, a domain of incredible diversity and complexity. The very geography of this nation dictates the nature of its defenders. To the north, the Himalayan frontier presents a breathtaking yet unforgiving theater of operations, a high-altitude battleground where the air is thin and the cold is a relentless enemy. Here, soldiers are conditioned not just for combat, but for survival against the elements themselves. This constant struggle with nature forges a resilience and expertise in mountain warfare that is virtually unparalleled. It is a silent, enduring conflict against gravity and ice, a daily testament to the hardiness required to guard these formidable natural ramparts. This immense human resource is not merely a matter of numbers, it is a repository of deep, hard-won experience. Decades of vigilance along contested borders and a history of complex regional conflicts have honed the Indian military into a battle-hardened entity. From counterinsurgency operations in the dense jungles to high-stakes standoffs on windswept plateaus, its soldiers have faced a gamut of tactical challenges. This continuous operational readiness ensures that the force is not a dormant giant, but a living, breathing organism, constantly adapting and learning. And so, the Indian military machine is a direct reflection of the nation it serves, vast, diverse, and deeply rooted in its environment. The discipline and dedication of its personnel form the bedrock of its power, a human shield protecting a civilization's journey into the 21st century. The sheer will of this collective, a billion-strong nation embodied in its armed forces, is a phenomenon of immense geopolitical significance. Yet, in this age, sheer numbers and traditional fortitude are but one part of the equation. India is rapidly pivoting towards the future, harnessing its celebrated prowess in technology to forge a new kind of arsenal. The nation's scientists and engineers are at the forefront of a technological renaissance, developing systems that promise to redefine the very nature of conflict. At the heart of this evolution lies its missile program, a source of immense national pride and strategic deterrence. The Agni and Prithvi series of ballistic missiles are not just weapons, they are symbols of technological sovereignty. This technological leap extends far beyond terrestrial ballistics, reaching into the heavens themselves. India's burgeoning space program plays a crucial dual role, serving both civilian and military ambitions. A growing constellation of sophisticated reconnaissance and communications satellites now orbits the Earth, providing the armed forces with a persistent eye in the sky. This orbital infrastructure grants them unprecedented situational awareness, enabling precise intelligence gathering and secure communication channels. The next frontier for India is not in space but in cyberspace and the realm of artificial intelligence. India is investing heavily in AI-driven warfare. Algorithms are being developed to analyze vast streams of data from drones, satellites, and sensors, identifying patterns and predicting enemy movements with speed and accuracy that surpasses human capability. This fusion of artificial intelligence with military hardware is creating a smarter, more responsive fighting force. This relentless drive towards technological self-reliance, or Atmanirbhar Bharat, is the defining characteristic of India's modern military strategy. From indigenously developed fighter jets like the Tejas to advanced naval warships and sophisticated electronic warfare suites, the nation is steadily reducing its dependence on foreign suppliers. This push not only strengthens its strategic autonomy, but also fuels a vibrant domestic defense industry. India is not simply acquiring modern tools of war, it is mastering the art of creating them, ensuring its place as a truly ascendant and independent power on the world stage. In the vast, sprawling expanse of the Eurasian heartland, the Russian Federation stands as a power defined by its immense history and formidable legacy. The modern Russian military is the inheritor of the Soviet Red Army, a force that once held half a continent in its sway, and this heritage echoes through its doctrines, its hardware, and its very psyche. It is a military built for continental-scale warfare, designed to project power across immense distances of steppe and forest. The sheer size of the nation dictates a strategy of defense in depth, a philosophy born from centuries of repelling invasions, from Napoleon to Hitler, where land itself becomes a weapon. At the core of this formidable presence lies its nuclear arsenal, the largest and one of the most sophisticated on the planet. This is the ultimate guarantor of Russian sovereignty, a terrifying legacy of the Cold War that continues to shape global geopolitics. The triad of land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear-powered submarines prowling silently beneath the polar ice, and a fleet of strategic bombers ensures a credible second-strike capability. This arsenal is not merely a deterrent. It is the bedrock of Russia's claim to great power status, a stark reminder that despite any conventional weaknesses, it remains a force capable of unimaginable destruction. On the conventional front, the symbol of Russian might has long been the tank. An immense fleet of armored fighting vehicles stands ready, a steel fist designed to punch through enemy lines and achieve decisive breakthroughs. While many of these are modernized Soviet-era designs, formidable in their own right, Russia has also invested in next-generation platforms like the T-14 Armata. This armored vanguard is central to Russian military thinking, a belief in the power of massed land forces to overwhelm and conquer territory, a doctrine forged in the fires of the Second World War and adapted, with varying success, for the modern battlefield. But this reliance on historical strength carries with it a heavy burden. The vastness of the country, once a strategic asset, has become a logistical challenge of colossal proportions. Maintaining and supplying such a large force across 11 time zones is a Herculean task, a vulnerability laid bare in recent conflicts. The sinews of supply, the rail lines and roadways that are the lifeblood of any army, can become choke points. The weight of history, while providing a deep well of experience and resilience, can also be an anchor, slowing adaptation to the fast-paced, asymmetric nature of 21st century warfare. The recent crucible of conflict in Ukraine has served as a harsh and unforgiving audit of the modern Russian military. It has exposed significant weaknesses that were previously masked by grand parades and confident pronouncements. The anticipated swift, decisive victory did not materialize, revealing startling deficiencies in logistics, command and control, and combined arms coordination. The flow of fuel, ammunition, and even food to frontline units faltered, stalling advances and leaving formidable armored columns vulnerable. This struggle has forced a painful and public re-evaluation of capabilities that were once taken for granted by the world. The performance of its advanced hardware has also come under intense scrutiny, yielding a mixed and often disappointing record. While certain systems, particularly in electronic warfare and some guided munitions, have proven effective, many of the much-vaunted next-generation weapons have been deployed in limited numbers, or have underperformed against expectations. The gap between the polished image of technological prowess and the gritty reality of battlefield effectiveness has been stark. This has provided a treasure trove of intelligence for Western observers and has shattered the myth of overwhelming Russian technological superiority, a cornerstone of its modern military identity. In response to these setbacks, however, Russia has demonstrated a capacity to adapt, albeit slowly and brutally. It has reverted to a grim strategy of attrition, leveraging its significant reserves of older, less sophisticated equipment and its large population to sustain a long and grinding war. The military-industrial complex has been placed on a war footing, churning out shells, drones, and refurbished tanks in vast quantities. This shift towards a war of mass and attrition plays to Russia's historical strengths, transforming the conflict into a grim contest of industrial capacity and national will, a stark departure from the initial vision of a rapid, high-tech operation. And so the future of the Russian military is shrouded in uncertainty. It remains a nuclear superpower with immense conventional mass, a bear that is wounded but still dangerous. It is learning painful lessons on the battlefields of Ukraine, lessons that will undoubtedly shape its structure and doctrine for decades to come. The question that remains is whether it can overcome its deep-seated institutional flaws and logistical frailties to truly modernize. Or will it remain a power reliant on the blunt instruments of mass and nuclear threat, a formidable but perhaps brittle giant in a world of increasingly agile and technologically sophisticated adversaries? Across the landscapes of East Asia, a transformation of historic proportions is underway. China, a civilization that has for millennia seen itself as the center of its world, is now translating its immense economic power into military might on a scale and at a speed the world has never before witnessed. The People's Liberation Army, or PLA, is the largest standing military force on Earth, with over 2 million active personnel. This is not just an army, it is the armed wing of the Communist Party, an instrument of national will tasked with securing China's sovereignty and realizing its global ambitions. The sheer scale of this force is breathtaking. It is a human leviathan, a deep reservoir of manpower that allows for a military presence of immense density and resilience, but this is no longer a force defined solely by its numbers. The PLA is undergoing a radical and comprehensive modernization program, shedding its old identity as a mass infantry army and reforging itself into a high-tech integrated joint force. Every branch, from the Army and Navy to the Air Force and the Strategic Rocket Force, is being re-equipped and reorganized to fight and win what it calls informatized wars. This transformation is fueled by a burgeoning military-industrial complex that is now among the most advanced in the world. China is no longer merely copying foreign designs, it is innovating, producing a full spectrum of advanced weaponry. From stealth fighters like the J-20 Mighty Dragon that challenge Western air superiority, to a growing fleet of sophisticated warships and advanced ballistic missiles, China is achieving near parity, and in some areas, superiority, in key military technologies. This domestic production capability grants it immense strategic autonomy, freeing it from the constraints of foreign suppliers. The ultimate ambition is clear: to build a military that can dominate the Indo-Pacific and project power across the globe. This is a long-term, generational project, meticulously planned and lavishly funded. The goal is to create a force capable of deterring any adversary, asserting its territorial claims in areas like the South China Sea and Taiwan, and securing the vital sea lanes and trade routes upon which its economic lifeblood depends. The awakening of this dragon has fundamentally altered the global balance of power, heralding a new era of great power competition. Nowhere is China's ambition more apparent than on the high seas. The People's Liberation Army Navy, once a modest coastal defense force, has been transformed in just 2 decades into the largest navy in the world by number of hulls. Shipyards are working around the clock, launching advanced destroyers, frigates, and submarines at a pace not seen since the Second World War. This naval expansion is the sharp end of China's spear, designed to break out from the first island chain and establish a blue water presence across the world's oceans, a clear statement of its maritime intent. At the heart of this new fleet are its aircraft carriers. While still lagging behind the United States in experience and scale, China is rapidly closing the gap. From its first carrier, the Liaoning, a refurbished Soviet vessel used for training, it has progressed to its first domestically designed and built carrier, the Shandong. And now, the much more advanced, catapult-equipped Fujian signals a major leap in capability. These floating air bases are the ultimate symbols of great power status, enabling China to project air power far from its shores and fundamentally changing the strategic calculus in the Pacific. This naval expansion is supported by a multi-layered strategy of anti-access/area denial, or A2/AD. China has developed and deployed a formidable arsenal of land-based anti-ship ballistic missiles, including the DF-21D, dubbed the Carrier Killer. These weapons are designed to hold enemy naval assets, particularly U.S. aircraft carriers, at risk hundreds of miles from the Chinese coast. This creates a protective bubble, a contested zone where the costs of intervention for any adversary would be extraordinarily high, thereby complicating any potential military response to Chinese actions in its near abroad. China's maritime dream is a direct challenge to the post-Cold War U.S.-led global order. By seeking to dominate the waters of the Western Pacific, Beijing aims to rewrite the rules of regional security and establish itself as the undisputed hegemon. The rapid growth of its navy, combined with its A2/AD capabilities and a growing network of overseas logistical hubs, represents the most significant and dynamic element of its military rise. The dragon has not only awakened, it has learned to swim, and the waves it is making are being felt across the globe. Here, in the vast theater of global power, one nation stands as a colossus, its shadow stretching across every continent and ocean: the United States of America. For decades, it has occupied the apex of military might, a position continuously redefined through relentless innovation and a budget that eclipses the next 10 nations combined. This is not simply a military, it is a global ecosystem of power projection, an intricate network of bases, alliances, and technological supremacy that shapes the very currents of international affairs. To understand this force is to comprehend the modern definition of a superpower, a titan whose every movement sends ripples across the world. Its strength is not born of a single element, but from a symphony of overwhelming advantages. Consider its air power, a fleet of stealth bombers and fifth-generation fighters that can strike with impunity from skies others cannot even detect. Or its navy, centered around 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, each a floating city of immense destructive potential capable of projecting American will to the most remote corners of the globe. These are not just weapons, they are symbols of an unmatched capacity to dictate the terms of conflict, to control the vital arteries of global trade, and to respond to threats with astonishing speed and force anywhere on the planet. The technological dominance is, perhaps, its most defining characteristic. In secretive laboratories and advanced research facilities, the future of warfare is being forged today, from autonomous drone swarms that can overwhelm sophisticated air defenses to hypersonic missiles that travel at unimaginable speeds. The American military-industrial complex is in a constant state of evolution. This relentless pursuit ensures that any potential adversary is always a generation behind, forced to react to innovations they can barely comprehend. The digital battlefield, the silent expanse of cyberspace, is another domain where its capabilities are profound and largely unseen, a hidden layer of this formidable power. And so, we observe a predator at the very top of the food chain, its position secured not by brute force alone but by a sophisticated and multi-layered strategy of dominance. Its global network of over 750 military bases acts as a series of strategic outposts, allowing it to observe, influence, and act with unparalleled agility. This intricate web ensures that no region is beyond its reach, no development beyond its notice. It is a presence that is both a deterrent and a promise, a deterrent to aggression, and a promise of swift retribution, a constant watchful eye over the delicate balance of global stability. The true measure of this power lies in its instruments of global reach, the tools that transform strategic ambition into tactical reality. At the heart of this capability are the aircraft carriers. These are more than mere warships. They are sovereign territories of the United States mobile airfields that carry an air wing more powerful than the entire air forces of many nations. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the newest of its class, represents a leap in naval technology capable of launching sorties at a terrifying rate. Imagine a fortress, city, and airbase combined, moving across the ocean at over 30 knots, a self-contained ecosystem of power that can sustain operations for months on end far from any friendly shore. This naval supremacy is supported by a silent, unseen force that patrols the deep. The Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines, the most survivable leg of the nuclear triad, are the ultimate guarantors of American security. Each submarine carries up to 20 Trident 2D5 missiles, and each missile can carry multiple warheads capable of striking targets thousands of miles away with horrific precision. They are the ghosts of the abyss, their locations known only to a select few, providing a constant, undetectable deterrent. Their very existence ensures that any catastrophic attack on the homeland would be met with an annihilating response, a terrifying checkmate in the high-stakes game of nuclear geopolitics. On land, the forces are no less formidable, though their role is evolving. The United States Army and Marine Corps are highly trained, technologically advanced, and battle-hardened from decades of continuous operations. They are masters of combined arms warfare, integrating infantry, armor, artillery, and air support into a seamless and devastating whole. Specialized units, such as the Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, and Delta Force, represent the pinnacle of special operations, capable of executing the most difficult and sensitive missions with surgical precision. These elite warriors are the scalpel in the nation's arsenal, deployed where conventional forces cannot go, operating in the shadows to achieve strategic objectives. Yet this immense power is not without its complexities. The very scale of this global military presence creates vulnerabilities and invites challenges. The logistical tail required to sustain these forces is immense, a sprawling network of supply chains that can be targeted. The cost, both financial and political, of being the world's policeman is a subject of constant debate. As we look towards 2025, the United States finds itself in a familiar position at the top, but with new rivals rising and the very nature of conflict changing. Its challenge is not just to maintain its dominance, but to adapt to a world where power is becoming more diffuse and threats more asymmetric. But to view the United States in isolation is to miss the most profound evolution in modern power dynamics. The true apex predator of the 21st century is not a single nation, but a complex and interconnected ecosystem of alliances. Here we witness the emergence of a new entity, the US plus allied force. This is not a formal army, but a strategic reality, a coalition of powerful, technologically advanced nations bound by treaties, shared values, and mutual interests. It is a network that multiplies the strength of its individual members, creating a collective security apparatus of unprecedented scale and sophistication. The power of one is amplified by the commitment of many. This web of alliances, NATO in the Atlantic, the Quad in the Indo-Pacific, AUKUS, the Five Eyes intelligence network, forms a global framework for military cooperation. When these forces combine, their capabilities become truly staggering. Imagine the naval power of the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, and France operating as a single unified fleet. Picture the combined air forces of NATO nations with their diverse and highly specialized aircraft seamlessly integrated into a single air campaign. This is the new face of overwhelming force, a multinational colossus that can draw upon the industrial, technological, and human resources of the world's most advanced economies. The strength of this coalition lies in its interoperability, the hard-won ability for disparate militaries to fight as one. Decades of joint exercises, shared doctrines, and standardized equipment have forged a level of integration that no rival bloc can match. A French pilot can be guided by an American AWACS plane to refuel from a British tanker before striking a target identified by Australian intelligence. This seamless cooperation is the coalition's greatest tactical advantage. It creates a force that is more flexible, more resilient, and more potent than the sum of its parts, capable of conducting complex multi-domain operations across the globe with terrifying efficiency. In this new paradigm, power is measured not just by the number of tanks or ships a single nation possesses, but by the strength and breadth of its friendships. The alliance network acts as a powerful deterrent, signaling to any potential aggressor that an attack on one member will be met with the collective might of many. It is a strategic hedge against the ambitions of rising powers, a bulwark designed to uphold the international order. As we look to the future, it is this interconnected ecosystem of allied power, spearheaded by the United States, that truly represents the pinnacle of military strength on planet Earth. The US plus allied force extends its dominance across every conceivable domain of conflict, creating a multi-layered defense that is almost impossible to penetrate. In the maritime domain, the combined fleets of the United States, the United Kingdom's Royal Navy, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, and the French Navy can lock down the world's oceans. They control the critical choke points of global trade, from the Strait of Hormuz to the Malacca Strait, ensuring the flow of commerce while denying access to adversaries. This collective naval supremacy underpins the global economic system and provides the platform for power projection into contested regions. In the air, the synergy is equally formidable. The technological edge of American fifth-generation fighters like the F-35 is shared with key allies, including the UK, Japan, and Australia. When combined with the formidable Eurofighter Typhoons and French Rafale jets, they form an aerial armada of unmatched capability. This air power is not just about fighters. It encompasses a vast network of reconnaissance aircraft, aerial tankers, and electronic warfare platforms. Together, they can establish air supremacy over any battlefield, blinding and deafening an opponent while striking with precision from altitudes and speeds that defy interception. The less visible domains of cyberspace and space are where this allied strength becomes truly decisive. The Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, comprising the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, creates a global surveillance and intelligence gathering network of unparalleled reach. They share signals, intelligence, satellite imagery, and cyber threat data, giving them a decisive information advantage over any rival. In space, the combined satellite constellations of these nations provide for global communication, navigation through GPS, and persistent surveillance, forming the digital backbone of modern warfare. An attack on one nation's satellite is an attack on the entire network's eyes and ears. This collective force, this grand coalition, represents a fundamental shift in our understanding of national power. It suggests that in the 21st century, the most powerful nations are not those who stand alone, but those who build the strongest bridges. The US plus allied force is the ultimate expression of this principle. It is a testament to the idea that in an increasingly complex and dangerous world, shared security is the only true security. It is the #1 military power of 2025, not as a single entity, but as a global alliance, a testament to the enduring power of cooperation in the face of shared challenges. And so, our journey through the hierarchy of global military power reaches its conclusion. But the landscape we have surveyed is not static. It is a world in constant dramatic flux. Power is changing. The old metrics of strength, the simple counting of soldiers and steel, are no longer sufficient. The very nature of conflict is being rewritten before our eyes. Weapons are faster, reaching their targets not in minutes but in seconds, blurring the line between attack and defense, and shrinking the time for human decision to almost nothing. The age of hypersonic velocity is upon us, a terrifying new chapter in the story of destruction. The battlefield itself has expanded into domains our ancestors could never have imagined. Wars are digital. They are fought in the silent, invisible currents of cyberspace where economies can be crippled and infrastructure paralyzed without a single shot being fired. They are waged with algorithms and artificial intelligence where autonomous systems may one day make life or death decisions on their own. And in this new world, fear is invisible. It is the subtle dread of a hacked power grid, the uncertainty of a compromised financial system, the quiet terror of knowing that the foundations of modern life are more fragile than they appear. Yet, through all this technological upheaval, through all the shifts in strategy and doctrine, one fundamental truth seems to hold. It is a stark and uncomfortable paradox, a grim reality that has echoed through the corridors of history. Peace exists because powerful nations prepare for war. The stability we so often take for granted is not a natural state of being. It is a fragile equilibrium, maintained by the constant watchful presence of immense military power, a balance of terror that holds the most destructive human impulses in check. This is the world of 2025, a world of incredible technological promise and unprecedented peril, a world where the line between peace and war is thinner than ever. The nations we have seen are the primary actors on this global stage, their decisions shaping the destiny of all humanity. Their power is a heavy burden, a responsibility of almost unimaginable weight. As we move forward into this uncertain future, the silent, ever-present readiness for conflict remains the most solemn and perhaps the most effective guardian of our fragile peace.